Well, hey everybody. It's Monday afternoon now. Want to ask you something, just to think about. With all the things that are going on, and it seems like every time I speak to you, I'm talking about all the things that are going on. And there's a lot going on. There's just so many things that are happening in our world that are just amazing, amazingly good and amazingly bad, but certainly extraordinary. And just as we're going through it all, having a transition in our political climate and political leadership, and just all of the things, how do you feel about everything? I mean, what are your thoughts? Uh, some of you just raised your eyebrows and said, "Oh, I got some thoughts." And I think we all do. I think everybody's got an idea about how things ought to be, and how we grew up or what we've been raised to believe, and all of that is good. But for some of you, just with the things that have happened recently and the things that you're predicting are going to happen in the near future, do you ever feel like you just want to pull out, just pull away from everything, just pull back and go up into the mountains somewhere, or head to another country or something, and just say, let them have it? Of course, let them have it can have more than one meaning, right? I know how you feel. I know if you've ever felt that way. I certainly know how you feel. You just feel like there's nothing you can do. This is bigger than your voice. It's you feel pretty helpless, and like you don't really have any say so in it. And the truth is, you really don't. But God does, and that's the powerful thing right now. We talked about yesterday just the power of prayer, and there are things that you are praying about and thinking about and praying for, and need to continue to do so. But just as you pray, understand that pulling out, pulling away, pulling back, that's not what we at all what we need to do. We need to even engage more. There needs to be more of an engagement. Now, again, as I said that, you think, yes, okay, there we go. We need to engage. I'm going to get on social media. I'm going to share my political views or my thoughts on one thing or another. But that's not what I mean. Of course, it's not what I mean. We don't want to pull away. That's what the Essenes did in Jesus' day. You had the Zealots, you had the Pharisees, you had the Essenes. The Essenes, the Zealots were just the opposite of the Essenes. The Zealots, like Barabbas, who Jesus was put up next to Jesus when Pilate was trying to let him go. The Zealots were being violent in their cause, violent in their crusade for whatever they're doing. And I think there's a time that we need to be violent. I'll come back to that. And then there's the Essenes, and the Essenes just wanted peace. Look, we're just going to worship our God in our own way, and just pulling back from everything. So they withdrew up into the mountains and didn't have anything to do with Rome and what was going on around them in the political climate. But Jesus said in John 17:18, it was his prayer for you and me. It's really more correctly entitled the Lord's Prayer than even the one in Matthew. But in John 17, Jesus says, God, Father, just as you have sent me, I have sent them. So we're to go into the world. We know that. So what are we to do? Well, let me address the violence for a moment. We need to violently hit our knees. We need to engage in violent warfare against the spiritual forces in the heavenly realms. We have an enemy. It's not flesh and blood. That's what Paul says. We have an enemy, but it's not your political foes. It's not people. It's not human beings. It's a different realm. And those enemies are fighting a battle, and we need to understand, as I said yesterday, we need to wear crash helmets and Kevlar when we go into prayer, because we've got to pray in a violent way, in a ferocious way, in a fierce way. We've got to get tenacious in our prayers. They don't have to be elegant. They don't have to be beautiful. They just need to be tenacious. Let God know exactly what you want. I want the enemy put down. I want him violently put down in this particular instant. I want him violently put down as he attacks my daughter or my son or my uncle or my aunt or my mother, as he attacks us. I want him put down violently as he attacks us with this pandemic. Whatever it might be, we want to pray for these things. And we want to pray violently, and that's all I mean. That's the only call to violence that I have. We need to take it by force, but only by the force of being on our knees. That's where the battle is won or lost anyway. But what do I mean when I say we need to become even more engaged? Rather than pulling away or pulling back or pulling out, we need to be more engaged. What do we need to be engaged with? Rather, who do we need to be engaged with? And of course, the answer is Jesus Christ. More time spent in his word, more time spent on your knees, more time spent learning something. Maybe it is the Lord's Prayer that you want to learn. Maybe you want to learn just all of John 17, the entire chapter. Attack it. Go after it. Engage with it. Be intentional about your study of his word. Oh, how we need that. We need to be revived nowadays. I pray that you will. I want a king. The Israelites, when they had God, they had a king. It was God who led them by a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. But they said, we need a king. We want a king. Other nations have a king. We want a king. Well, I'm declaring that today. I feel that way. I feel what they're saying. Of course, they had the king that I want, and I want the king. I'm not really looking for any other leadership than the theocratic leadership of a king, the benevolent dictatorship of King Jesus, the one who commands me and calls me, the one to whom I'm a bond servant, a bond slave, if you will, a doulos. That's what I want. And I hope this encourages you because, the leadership can shift, as we've seen in the last 4 years. Leadership can shift tremendously, even, again, violently. But Jesus never changes. We call to him, and the things that you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. The things that you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Do you understand that? Do you understand that God will do amazing things if you just ask? He said, whatever you ask for in my name, believing that you have it, you will have it. So ask for those right things. I just want to encourage you in that today. I know we feel like we need to probably just pull back, just want to throw up our hands and give up and just let them go for it and do their thing. And we feel so helpless. We are not. And we are not hopeless. We are filled with hope. And we have the powerful, powerful weapon of prayer. So do it without ceasing. And have a wonderful day.